Hey everyone, welcome back and thank you for joining me again this week. This week I've done something a little bit different. I've decided to go back to doing my own nails again. It's been almost a year, so it's kind of weird, but I just did a really thin overlay on myself because I wanted to show you both the Nail Basics Flex as well as the Light Elegance ManiCure. Both of them are really awesome products for doing thin overlays, so if your client doesn't want a fully sculptured nail, this is a nice alternative and will give you that 3-week fill that you're looking for. So I'm not going to fix my nails in any way whatsoever for the next 3 weeks, and then I will do a fill on myself and we can kind of see how well both of them hold up. But yeah, I just wanted to share that with you instead of just nail art today. I have also done a bit of art on myself with the new Light Elegance Year of the Woman collection, using 3 of the new colors out of there, so I do hope you enjoy. Okay, so starting out with some nice healthy natural nails, the first thing of course is your cuticle prep. In my opinion, there's 2 ways of doing this. There's a dry prep and a wet prep. So with the dry prep, you're using bits to get rid of that protein residue. So here I'm using the diamond nib first, and I just use it on a really low speed, and I want to really stress here, you're not actually removing the cuticle, you're just gently lifting the cuticle with the bit and then removing the protein residue that's on the nail. There is no reason to ever remove the cuticle. I know some people like the look of it better, but it's there for a reason. It helps keep out bacteria, it helps prevent nail infections, especially like paronychia, which is like an inflammation of the cuticle area, which can be extremely uncomfortable and painful, and it's, although pretty easy to treat, it's something we can avoid simply by not removing the cuticle. So I'm just gonna go through, remove all my protein residue on all 5 nails here. And then once I'm done with that, I'm going to come back in with the sharp point and do basically the same thing. I just find the sharp point gets a little bit more underneath of the cuticle fold and then also down into the growth channels, really cleaning up the nails of that protein residue so you get a really good bond. So the second method of protein residue removal is a wet method. So this is using some sort of cuticle softener. I like the Orly Cutique, but there are tons of other brands out there. Footlogix has a cuticle softener out now as well. Either way, you're just applying this product liberally to the cuticle and then let it sit. The amount of time it takes to apply all 10 nails is long enough to let the first hand sit. And then you're taking a cuticle tool and again, gently lifting up the cuticle and pulling away the protein residue. So you're not just pushing everything forward into the cuticle fold, you're actually pulling that residue up the nail away from the cuticle. Again, making sure you're getting into those corners really good. It's important to have a smaller push tool. The larger ones are too big for, I'd say, 95% of the nails that are out there. I can honestly say I've never used the larger size before. So the size of your cuticle push tool will make a big difference for you as well with this wet method. And then at the end of any wet method, you need to cleanse the nail. You're putting a protein on there. It is an active enzyme. Specifically, the Orly one is a potassium enzyme, so you want to make sure that you're neutralizing that well, and it also is cleaning the surface of your nail for your overlay. Okay, so now your cuticles have been prepped and you're ready to start your overlay. The first thing that I like to do is buff the nails lightly with a very fine grit file. I'm using the 180 grit side of the foamy file from Light Elegance. You can do this with an arbor band as well on a super low speed, but just for the purpose of this video, I decided to use a foamy file. The biggest thing is making sure that you're removing the entire shiny surface of the nail. So everything should be buffed. There should be no spots that are still a little bit shiny, and really making sure you're getting into those growth channels and cuticle corners when you're doing this. After buffing, you want to give the nails a really good cleanse with whatever cleanser you like to use for your gels. I use Afterwipe from nailbasics, but it's up to you, whatever you like. Making sure you're really cleaning those nails good, getting all of the dust off of the nails. Next up is going to be your bonding agent. For this first hand, I've done everything with Light Elegance products. So their bonding agent is tack. And for tack, all you're doing is just painting this onto the nail. It does air dry a little bit and it gets a bit tacky, but you can cure it in the light. So I've switched back to using just UV lights, and so I cure for 2 minutes, but in a UV or LED light rather, you cure for 30 seconds. Now with the Light Elegance system, the next thing you're going to do is apply your gel. So for an overlay, I use ManiCure. This has a bit of flexibility to it, so it's not going to be too rigid, but it's still going to give enough strength that your colors aren't going to crack over top of it. I like to apply all Light Elegance gels with the Light Elegance No. 4 oval brush. Again, brush preference is totally up to you. I just like this one the most. And all I'm doing here for an overlay is just painting a thin coat of the product over the whole nail. So with an overlay, you're not actually adding any structure to the nail, you're not adding supports, you're not creating an apex in any way. All you're doing is following the natural shape of the nail and giving it a little bit of almost like a hard cover on top of it. So when I'm applying, I'm making sure that I'm looking at the nail from every single angle possible. You want to look down the barrel. It should be very, very thin. You want to look at the side profiles. There shouldn't be any dips. And the better that you apply your product now, the less work that you have after you've cured everything and do your finish filing. So once you're finished with applying everything, you'll give the whole hand a full 2-minute cure in UV or 60 seconds in LED. And I have been just flash curing for about 5-10 seconds in between each nail, just so nothing moves on me. And of course, giving that a really good cleanse when it comes out of the light. You can use the Light Elegance cleanser, but as I said before, I prefer the Nail Basics After Wipe, so that's what I'm using here. And again, just making sure you're getting all of that tacky out from your growth channels and all around the nails. I'm going to do the same thing on my second hand, although this time I'm using Nail Basics products. So our gel adhesive here is bondage. We do have a bondage brush to apply this with. And all you're going to do with bondage is just paint it onto the entire nail. You want to be very careful not to get any contact with the skin, as it acts like a Velcro to the gel. So if you contact with the skin, the chances of you getting flooding in your growth channels and cuticle area are that much higher. You can apply more than one coat of bondage, and you'll know that you have enough on when the bondage looks shiny. After bondage comes first and last, which is Nail Basics Bonding Gel. This one I like to apply with the Nail Basics Pro Round brush. It has rounded bristles that makes it easy to get nice and close to the cuticle and into those cuticle corners. So with an overlay, you're going to apply first and last very thin, almost like a polish. You're really just painting it on. You want a little tiny bit of a pillow at the cuticle, but you're not looking for the kind of pillow that you would have if you're doing a full enhancement. It's really just a thin layer so that your next component will stick well. Once all 5 nails are done, giving that about a 20-second cure. The next step in the Nail Basics line is Flex. This is the most flexible gel Nail Basics has. It's quite thin, but it's really easy to work with. And this one I like to apply with the white handled brush or the Kolinsky oval. And again, same with the manicure, we're just applying a thin coat. You're almost painting this on. It's not providing any additional support to what the natural nail already has. It's just giving it like a hard top coat, basically. And again, just looking at it from every angle, making sure it's nice and thin, and even the longer you spend with your application, the less time you have to spend with your filing. And again, I'm just doing a quick 10-second flash cure in between each nail. And then once all 5 nails are done, doing a full 2-minute cure on these. Once that 2 minutes is up, again, giving a good cleanse with Nail Basics After Wipe, making sure to get in all those growth channels. You don't need to be giving yourself or your clients contact dermatitis because of uncured gel left on the skin. The next step in my process is using the Erica's Diamond file. So this is a hard metal file. It's fully sterilizable, and it works really well because it is so rigid, just to clean up the nails before you do any sort of filing on the actual product. I apologize if I keep going out of frame here. It's super hard to stay in frame with your hard hand. So just cleaning up the edges here, doing the whole perimeter of the nail, not worrying too much about shaping at this point, just making sure we have a nice even edge to work with. Now is when I do my finish filing. And yes, I still do this for an overlay, even though it's more work, but I'm super particular. So first I'm starting with an arbor band, and I use a screw top mandrel. And again, just on a nice speed that you're comfortable with. You don't need a high speed for this at all. Just shaping the nail. You can do this with a hand file as well. I personally use an electric file because, well, the main reason is it's easier on my body. I don't have to sit there and file back and forth for multiple hours a day. This makes it really fast, really easy, and I find that I'm more accurate this way as well. It's harder to get flat spots when you're using a round bit on a round nail compared to a flat file on a round nail. But of course, if you prefer to hand file, now is when you would do your shaping with your hand file. So I've sped up the filing with my non-dominant hand here just because I don't think it's an accurate representation of how long this takes, but I've decided to leave the filing with my right hand at real time so that you can see it literally only takes 2 minutes to do 5 nails, so it's only 4 minutes. And every step after this for finish filing isn't totally necessary. You could get away with just doing the work with your arbor band. So if you wanted, it's only 4 extra minutes at the end of your application to get a perfect shape on your client's overlay. once I'm done with my mandrel, I'll then come in with a 100 grit file. I'm using the Lexi file today from Light Elegance. And this is where I do my final perimeter shaping. So if there's any nail that's a little bit longer or one that I don't totally love the shape of, now is when I'll put the really final shaping into my free edge. The next thing I do is come in with a diamond cone. This bit can look scary because it is so pointy, but it's really gentle. I'm, like I said, doing this with my left hand and I had no problems. And I just use this bit to clean up the corners underneath. Sometimes gel can run into the growth channel a little bit or just even kind of overflow onto the nail. It's just an opportunity here to really clean up everything for this overlay. It's also a good opportunity if your client has really dirty natural nails to just gently run your bit over top of it, and you can clean that out for them as well. And the last step to my finish filing, I like to use a medium crosscut barrel. So this is a diamond bit as well. I avoid carbide bits, I just find them too bitey for my personal taste. And all I'm doing with this crosscut bit is refining the shape, refining the thickness. If there's any bulk in any part of the nail, the more you use this bit, you'll start to be able to actually feel that bulk without even looking at it. So this is really just refining everything, smoothing everything really well. And again, if you are a lover of hand filing, now is when you'd want to take out your finer grit foam file and do your foam filing here. But again, I love my electric file so much, and it makes my job so much easier. I don't have wrist problems or shoulder problems or really any problems at all that are related to doing nails. So yeah, if you're looking for longevity, I really recommend getting into electric filing. And again here, I've just sped up the filing with my non-dominant hand, but I've left the filing with my dominant hand at real time. Again, it's just under 2 minutes here, so if you want to hand file, by all means go for it, but another 4 minutes, so that's 8 minutes of finish filing for an overlay. I think that's pretty good. And that's it. So you can see how nice and thin these are. There's not a ton of product on them. I did not add supports or place apexes at all. It's just an overlay on my natural nails. And after giving these a really good cleanse and getting rid of all the dust, these nails are now ready for whatever kind of art you want to put on top of them. You can use gel polish, you can use hard gel polish, you can put mission control over top of this, literally anything that you want to do, and it will last you for 3 weeks.